Hey guys, Jamie Lee here with Progressive Programming, talking about our April coming up. Real quick, let's talk a little bit about this last couple months. So from January, February, March, we really had a big emphasis and focus on the open. So we are coming out of the open and going into April, which is actually also going to kick off not just a new mesocycle, but also the whole macro cycle. So when we look at the programming from a year standpoint, we always look to see how are we going to make progressions? Where do we start? Where do we progress to? So as we look from the last few months, we've had a lot more GPP, a lot more constantly varied heavy days, not real clear progressions as far as a specific lift or skill. We've been working on different energy systems and just trying to maintain maintain and continue our fitness leading into the open, which is essentially a big marker for our fitness. Now, going into April, we're going to be starting not only a new macro cycle, but also the new mesocycle, which is going to consist of our foundation. Okay, so for the next 3 months, we've got a big focus and emphasis on general foundation of strength, balance, and skill. So for our first month, April, we're going to be working on our base and balance. Then from there, we'll move into a strength and power, and then we'll progress into more of a speed and skill. From that point, we'll kind of recycle and change up our whole progressions and focuses to continue on to our next phase of training. Now, for our base and balance, which is going to be the month of April, our main progressions are going to be deadlift. So with our deadlift, I really want to emphasize our main focus here is to work on the pattern, developing some capacity in pulling weight from the ground. We won't be going necessarily to a 1 rep max. At the end of the month, we'll be testing a 3 rep max. But as we go through this whole month, we're gonna be doing a little bit more of drop sets with our deadlifts. So basically, we'll be dropping reps, but increasing the load with a little bit more of a pyramid focus. So we'll progress 3 sets, increasing weight, then we'll drop the weight, and then we'll progress a little bit heavier. So that's something to look forward to for our deadlift and our primary strength. Now, our secondary strength is also going to be our primary strength going into our next month. Now, this is essentially kind of like an 8-week cycle for our back squat, but for this first month of March or April, we're going to be supersetting it with some horizontal pressing. Okay, so big thing, base, right? Goes back to our base and balance for this month. Hinging with some deadlifts, squatting, we're going to be using a high bar back squat for our back squats, and then we're going to be going with a dumbbell bench press. We'll begin with a floor press, then we'll progress to a bench, and if we are limited on equipment and don't have a bench available, we can always utilize the floor press with different tempos and variations, which are also listed in the program. Now, from that point, we will be testing a 2 rep max back squat, but then we're going to use that data going into our following month for May into our primary strength of our high bar back squat. Now, real quick on the back squat, I want to really emphasize the high bar aspect just because we're trying to work on positioning. We're trying to work on our foundation of being able to move heavy weights. Now, our high bar back squat, we want to be able to transfer into a front squat so that way when we get into more of a squat clean environment or a skill, we're able to maintain that upright torso. So if we find ourselves getting limited on our range of motion, let's just keep in mind the rep ranges that we're gonna see are gonna be based off of the ability to maintain full range of motion. And if we're unable to maintain a full range of motion of that high bar back squat, then let's modify it to a back box squat. Main thing focusing on is depth. So working on increasing our depth of the pattern versus increasing the load. Okay, so once we get ourselves off the box, then we can start working on for a heavier lift. But in the grand scheme of things, we want to look at that as a chance for us to build a foundation for our next primary strength, the back squat in May. Now, from there, our skill. We've got our skill base and balance. We're going to be working a lot of balance drills. Okay, now working between, basically it's going to be focused around balance and core. So we'll be working a lot of midline stabilizers, balancing through some overhead marches, some single leg unilateral drills, just a variation of movement patterns and just skill balances. Now, when we're doing these, we need to keep in mind, stay within our capacity, stay within a range of motion that we're able to maintain control of. So if you find yourself during a front scale just lifting that leg off the ground for the period of time that we're supposed to be working, let's just stick with that instead of trying to go higher, okay? So those are gonna be our main focuses going into the month of April. As far as our notable workouts, we will see a 2 rep max back squat along with a little bench press burnout session. And then we have our deadlift, our primary deadlift. We're gonna be testing a 3 rep max, building to a 3 rep max for the day, okay? Now, really emphasize also, these are not true max out numbers. We're just trying to pick up a heavy weight for that particular day, and then using that data going into the following month. So, as far as other notable workouts, we've got Ryan. We're gonna be doing the hero workout Ryan, which is gonna be 5 rounds of 7 ring muscle ups and 21 burpees. If we don't have a ring muscle up, what we're gonna do is a modification. We've got 2 benchmarks for this particular day. If you can't do a muscle up, we've got the Ryan for ring muscle ups. Then we have G.I. Jane, another classic notable CrossFit workout, which is 100 burpee pull-ups. Now for this one, the standard, we wanna try to maintain a challenging standard because the rep scheme is very different from Ryan to G.I. Jane, is we wanna make sure that we're using a bar that's about 12 inches outside of our reach. So we're gonna have to really work to get into a good rhythm on that pattern. Along with that, we've got Helen. So another classic CrossFit workout, 3 rounds for time of 400 meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, and 12 pull-ups. Great classic workout and another great benchmark to track our fitness. So that is it for today. And then until next time, have fun, guys.